Hi, welcome back. I'm Cece, and today we're actually going to be talking about a specific topic, clocking. Um, so, if you're unfamiliar with the term, what clocking means is, if you bust it down, it pretty much means when somebody recognizes that you're trans. Um, and that it can be difficult, it can be a little disheartening depending on where you're at in your journey, but I've had a lot of different experiences with it because I remember when I was first coming out, or when I first came out, because I didn't really do it gradually, but before I was on any kind of meds or before any surgery or anything, I would just wear whatever clothes I wanted, as mixed matched as I wanted them to be, and was trying to figure myself out, trying to kind of feel everything out. Um, and I was actually I had met another trans woman who was much further along than I was at the time, and I'm really bad about hero worship, and I just idolized this girl. Um, yeah, she was. I mean, she actually later turned out to be a big shitbag, but at the time, at the time, I loved her. I thought she was just everything that could be. I just thought she was cool as hell. So she was actually being really cool that day, and she had taken me to. We had had coffee, and we had just kind of discussed some basic stuff. I was just trying to get into the community, and she actually took me to Sephora, and we did like a little makeup thing. But while we were talking to one of the makeup girls, and by the way, the employees at Sephora were super cool. They were super nice, and they were helping me with very nice people there. But while we were talking to one of the employees, this random woman just walked up to us and asked if we were men, and we were literally in the middle of a conversation with someone, and she just, are y'all guys? And I didn't know what to say, honestly, but Brittany was very, excuse me, the girl I was with was very mature about it, and much more mature than I ended up being later in other circumstances. Because I used to get really pissed off about it, but um, she was very mature and she handled it really well. And she's like, "No, we're trans women. Thank you very much." And then the rude person who just ran up and asked us that. One of her friends actually came and got her, and I was like, "You just can't say that to people." So I appreciate everybody in that experience, but it was really embarrassing for me. It was really hard for me, and we finished our session there at the store, and she asked me what I was gonna do. I asked her what she was gonna do, and she said she was gonna go get food, and I said, well, I have to go, and I was just very overwhelmed by the whole experience, and it's one thing to put yourself out there, especially when you're that early, but it's another whole thing to be treated like it's a bad thing, or to be called out like you're lying, or like you're trying to trick somebody, because that was never my intention. But later, clocking, at least in my experience, it became a little different, because as I started to pass, and I wore wigs for a long time, so as I started to like really come into myself, there were some things that you could just tell about me, like especially right when I first started my meds, like some things just hadn't changed enough. So like I would still that so a lot of people find that interesting. A lot of people find that attractive. So a lot of we call them chasers, and they're just usually cis men who like trans women, and a lot of them it's hard to tell, because and the further along you get, the harder it is to tell if they've clocked you or if they genuinely like you. So if someone genuinely likes you, they may approach you the same way as if you had a chaser clock you, and it's kind of hard to break down. But I remember one time I was at a bus stop, and the guy I was still wearing wigs at the time. I had only been on my meds for like 6 months, so like I was starting to come in, but like not quite. And he was really heavy-handed, but I knew that he had clocked me, and I knew that he had clocked me, and I knew that he knew what I was because of the way he handled it. You know, he was very heavy-handed. He was very like, "You're so pretty, I love you so much," and you know, we were in public, but he was also like very, very quiet. You know, he didn't want to let anyone else know that he was interested in me. So like, you get people who are interested but ashamed of their interest or embarrassed by it or something. Like they don't really want to be with you. They want to fetishize you. They want to, you know, like, you know, they want to jerk off to you, and that's about it. Um, but that's a little bit that's a little bit of my experience with clocking. Um, you know, furthermore, it kind of gets into like how do you avoid it? You know, like because I know in mine that's a touchy subject because not everyone thinks that you should have to. Not everyone thinks that you should have to avoid being clocked. You know, if it's what you look like and that's your life, then you know, like that's how you wanna be, but or you know want to live your life. But for me, you know, I try to avoid it usually for my safety. I just don't always feel like being visible is always the best scenario in my case because I do like to have fun and I do like to go out a little bit and I don't want to I don't want to get my ass beat somewhere. You know, I don't want to get harassed. And so you know, like a lot of things that specifically trans women do to avoid it. You know, like makeup. I wear a lot of chokers, just because I don't know. It makes me look better, I think, and I think it helps with overall appearance. But you know, it comes down to the clothes you wear and making sure they're a good fit for you. Because, like I said, when I first started, I'm really sorry about that noise. Okay. When I first started, I didn't really have like a style. I bought whatever I wanted, and I kind of just pieced it together. And if I thought it looked good, I wore it, and that's fine. And it's part of the growing experience. But you know, as you grow into yourself, as the person that you are, um, you tend to figure out what looks best on you. Just like when you're growing up, just like when you're growing up as a person, as you grow into your gender and grow into your transition, you find that certain things look better, certain ways to walk, certain ways to talk, and train your voice, and kind of like even it goes so far as like what surgeries you can afford if you're into that. I've met some women who are strictly no surgeries, and I totally understand that. That makes sense to me. I'm not one of those people. I would chop up every bit of me if I wanted to, if I could, because why not? You get one life, and I figured why not? So for example, since I brought up surgeries, my a lot of people argue against it, but I feel like my orchiectomy really pushed my transition along. I was on a testosterone blocker, which was spirulactone, and it's really hard on your liver and a lot of your other organs. And a lot of women who have been on it for a long time, or have higher doses of it to keep your T down, end up having like fatty liver disease and like other really serious issues. So I opted for the orchi, and I really feel like my fat displacement, breast growth, hips, everything really, and the first 6 months to a year after my surgery, I really felt like my body started to mirror the way I felt about it. And I feel like since my surgery I've gotten clocked less. It could be argued not at all, because I really haven't been harassed much in forever, a long time, except by guys who are just interested. But yeah, so that's clocking, and like I was saying, it can come in a variety of ways. It can come in a variety of intensities. It can be meant to be complimentary. I was at a bus station once, and this guy walked up to me and he said, were you born a man? And I said, no, I'm a trans woman, if that's what you mean. And he said, "Oh, well, I could tell right away." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, I guess." Like he wasn't trying to be rude, but he was very clueless, and you get a lot of those. You get a lot of people who've never seen a trans person. I came from the middle of the country, and I had honestly never met a trans person that I knew of until I came, until I left, and it was, so I try and be understanding, as long as they're not calling me names, I try and educate where I can. But yeah, that's clocking. I hope I was able to give you all a good definition, a good understanding of how it works, and I would be more than happy to do another video concerning clocking and some of the other terms I used in this video. Please just leave any suggestions or like what you want to see down in the comments, and please like and subscribe so I can get more videos going. And thank you so much for watching with me. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Bye.